UFC fighters who I just do not see the hype in. What is up, boys? We are back, and today we're going to be going over the most overrated UFC fighters as of right now, because I guarantee you all 5 fighters that will be in this video will lose their next fight 100% confirmed, dude. Come back to this video in 6 months when all of these guys have fought again, because they're all going to be coming off a loss. That is just a fact. Before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're at like 945 subscribers right now. It takes 1 second. Help a small channel out, brother. Help a small channel out. But without further ado, let's talk about it. The guy who inspired me to make this video. What's this kid's name? Susur something, brother? I don't even know this kid's name. This guy has simply went from being an absolute nobody that no one had ever heard of to being a megastar. I'm joking when I say megastar, but apparently we're all riding this guy's bandwagon. We are all riding this guy's bandwagon, except me. Brother, I don't know if a lot of people just did not see the Dana White's Contender Series fight and just saw that he got a knockout in the first round, and then they saw this guy go out there at UFC 319 and get a finish. But you got to look at the context in these fights, brother. This guy was on Dana White's Contender Series. He got held up against a cage for 2 minutes straight, did not do anything in the striking for the first minute of the fight. It was a back and forth fight. The round was he was probably going to lose the first round of this fight on Dana White's Contender Series. Then he lands a perfectly placed body shot. He finishes him. Okay, that's cool. You know, clap it up. I'll clap it up for the kid. I'll clap it up for the kid. I'm not trying to hate completely. Good finish, buddy. You got a good finish. You're probably losing that fight, but still, you got a good finish. I can't discredit that, man. Then this guy goes out there 4 days notice, and he's gonna fight at UFC 319. Again, I cannot take any credit away from this guy. Fair enough, man. You're a BMF. You're fighting on 4 days notice. One of the quickest turnarounds we've ever seen. You know what I didn't like? What I didn't like was how Dana White was hyping up this guy like he was the next Khabib, like he was the next big star in the UFC. Oh, okay, you know, he had one fight that we saw a lot of his problems, but, you know, I'll give you that, man. I'll give you that. He has a lot of hype, and he's coming off a really sick KO in the first round. He's doing it in 4 days notice against UFC 319. He's fighting just 4 days later. I will give you that, man. I'm happy to give you it. But then we see his fight against Eric Nolan, like I said, at UFC 319. And, well, you would have expected this guy to go in there and put a beating on Eric Nolan because, I mean, realistically, this fight isn't even on short notice for what's the kid's name? Susur or something like that. The guy on the screen, the fight was not on short notice for him. I know. His opponent was, but he was in a whole training camp before that. He had a whole training camp leading up to his Dana White Contender Series fight. He had that entire time to train. And then, in a way, he just had a hard sparring session against the bum on Dana White's Contender Series. Really, that was just a hard sparring session. He didn't take any damage in that fight. Meanwhile, Eric Nolan on the other side was a champion in another organization, a welterweight, by the way, a welterweight who actually took this fight on short notice, who actually was not in a training camp. He was not prepared to fight anyone. He goes in there and he rocks Susur Bakayev in the first round. I kid you not. He was piecing him up in the first round. This is a welterweight on 4 days notice. Are you serious right now? This is a welterweight on 4 days notice, and you're getting pieced up. He was doing the chicken dance at the end of the first round. Well, I don't know what to tell you. He was doing the chicken dance. He got a good finish. I'll give you that. He got a good rear naked choke, but I mean, you could tell that he was only winning the fight because of his pure size advantage. You know, if Eric Nolan was an actual middleweight, he would have been able to keep up with the size. He would have been able to keep up with the strength because he was just getting outpowered the entire fight. And that's not his fight. It's 4 days notice up a division. And then he goes back and forth with him. He got a good leg kick, which injured him, which actually resulted in the finish. Fair enough, but you faced a lot of adversity to get here. He did not just, in both of his fights on Dana White Contender Series and at UFC 319, it was not a clean KO. It was not him going in there and him absolutely putting a beating on his opponent. No, he struggled in both fights. He faced adversity in both fights. And when you were facing adversity against Eric Nolan and some random ginger Dagestani on Dana White's Contender Series, well then what is the rest of the UFC middleweight division going to do to you? What is Bo Nickel going to do to brother? Bo Nickel would flatline this guy. I'm not even trolling. I think Bo Nickel would flatline him. What is Sharmagomedov going to do to you? What is Marc-Andre Barriault going to do to you? These guys, they're not even ranked guys. Let alone, what is Dricus Duplessis going to do to you? What is Hamza Chimaev going to do to you? This guy will be a nobody, and I guarantee you, this man will He will lose his next fight, brother. I see Marc-Andre Barriault beating him. I see a lot of guys in the middleweight division beating him. A Cody Brundage beats this guy. I don't understand. Like, I think the UFC is going to give this guy a layup fight, and then he's going to get flatlined. They're going to try to give him a Cody Brundage on, like, the main card of a pay-per-view, and he's going to get flatlined in the first round. I kid you not. He's not good. He has never been good, and he's a completely overrated fraud. I spent half of the video talking about how this guy is a fraud. So, I mean, we'll move on to the next guy, though. Moving on to number 4. It's going to be Venicious Olivera. And don't get me wrong, I was all hype on Venicious Olivera. I was one of Venicious Olivera's biggest fans. Heading into UFC, what was that, 317, 318? Yeah, it was 318, where he was scheduled to fight Kyler Phillips. I was a huge fan of him. I thought he was a very good fighter. I think he's a very good prospect still to this day. But after seeing that fight against Kyler Phillips, in which he had a 10-8 round on Kyler Phillips, in which he won very clearly, there was still a round in between them where he was walking up to Kyler Phillips with his hands down, getting pieced up, just getting brutalized. I don't understand what this kid's doing, what his fight IQ is like. Because, brother, if Kyler Phillips is able to do that to you, well then what's going to be next for Venicious Olivera? I expect Venicious Olivera to get a decent step up in competition in his next fight. Maybe we give him a Song Yadong. Song Yadong flatlines him brutally. I hate to be that guy. But there's just certain things that you can notice in a fighter when they're just a young prospect that you know they need a lot of change. And I see that with Venicious Olivera. He's a quick, he's a technical, and he's a fun fighter. But he literally doesn't even have his hands up. Like, his hands are to his waist. Yuri Prochazka made a career off it. Yuri Prochazka made a freaking career off it. He became a UFC champion whilst doing it. So maybe I can't hate on him as much, but you gotta understand this is also bantamweight. This is a way more technical division than light heavyweight is. And I don't think that this guy, when he's facing the who's of the bantamweight division, when he's facing your freaking Umar Nurmagomedov, he's not gonna be able to go in there with his hands down, because Umar Nurmagomedov is gonna head kick this guy into oblivion. And I think he needs a lot of practice. I think he just needs a lot of training. His footwork, it's shown to be decent, but still, there's a lot of times where he gets caught up. He's easy to get held up against the cage. I see a lot of downsides in this guy's game, and I would really like him to go back to the drawing board. Keep working, dude. You'll get there one day, dude. But keep working, Venicious Olivera. I could see you becoming a problem in the bantamweight division, but I'm not 100% convinced. I'm gonna need you to go out there your next performance, whether it be against a Song Yadong or Rob Font, and absolutely just have a clear victory where you look just like an amazing prospect. That's the only way that I could fully believe in this guy again, because it's going to take a lot for me to fully believe in Venicious Olivera again. But that's it for that guy. Moving on to the next guy, though. The next guy, Paulo Costa. I know Paulo Costa's not like everyone's glazing this guy, bro. He's the next big thing. No, he had his UFC career already, and now he got one good one, really. People are kind of talking about this guy like he is the dark horse of 185. Brother, I'm here to tell you right now, that ain't happening. Brother, I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Like, realistically, Paulo Costa was 1-5 in his last 5 fights before UFC 318. He goes in there against Roman Kopylov, someone who has shown that he is not that good. He's been submitted by Anthony Hernandez already. He's been defeated by a lot of guys in the UFC. Chris Curtis gave him some tough challenges, and he beats Roman Kopylov pretty decisively. But you gotta understand, it's Roman Kopylov. That's not a great fighter, and you guys should have seen it, man. It was crazy. After UFC 318, I could not believe myself. I thought I was tweaking out, man, because people talked about Paulo Costa like he was a marauder, bro. This guy was gonna, put him against Hamzat, bro. He beats Hamzat. No! What? People were talking about Paulo Costa like he beats Hamzat. I seen someone matchmake him against Hamzat Chimaev. What? He got one good win against Roman Kopylov, and even then, it wasn't a pure domination. I think it was a 29-28. What are you talking about? Don't get me wrong. Paulo Costa looked good. Paulo Costa looked the best we had seen him in years at UFC 318. But, brother, that is against 14th ranked Paulo Costa. Against Roman Kopylov. I don't even think Roman Kopylov is ranked anymore. Like, if this guy faces anyone, I think the UFC is probably going to give him a big step up in competition next, too. Because that's what they were doing before. Like, they were giving him Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland. Literally 2 of the best middleweights of all time. And he got obliterated by both of those guys. What? What are you talking about? He got dominated 50-45 by Sean Strickland. He got embarrassed by Robert Whittaker other than one spinning head kick. Are you serious? We know he can't keep up with the top of the middleweight division. Imagine what a Hamzat would do. Let's see, who will the UFC give this guy next? Maybe they'll give him a Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen destroys him. That's just my opinion, dude. Brendan Allen's just going to be able to take this guy down. He's going to be a ground and pound and smash Paulo Costa's face in. That is my opinion. That's how I feel. Paulo Costa, you have some hype right now. You finally got a win for the first time in forever, and people are glazing you now. Not me. This guy, MMA Outpost, actually has ball knowledge, brother. You'll never be anything decent. But moving on to number 2. Number 2 is Dan Hooker. I know Dan Hooker has a lot of fans, but I also seen Dan Hooker hating on Charles Oliveira the other day. So I have to hate on you, Dan Hooker. It's pretty much certified. If you're going to go out there and call Charles Oliveira a quitter, brother, you're going to get a whole video I made about you, kid. What's the question? Yeah, Dan Hooker's a bum. Dan Hooker. I know why a lot of people like this kid. I understand why people hype this guy up. So maybe the thumbnail of this video, the title of this video is a little inaccurate. I understand why people like Dan Hooker because he is one of those guys who is going to go out there and he's always going to put up a fun performance. I like Dan Hooker. I enjoy his fights. I went back, I watched so many of his fights. I watched that war he had with DP. I watched his fight with Gamrot. This guy made a Gamrot fight entertaining. You can't hate him. I don't hate Dan Hooker, but what I don't like is how people are saying that Dan Hooker is really a contender. He's not. He's a fun fighter who fluked to win over Gamrot. He lost to Gamrot, by the way. I mean, he lost to Gamrot. People forget. People forget about that. That was a robbery. If we're going to count Arman Tsarukyan versus Gamrot, we're going to count that as a robbery. Well, then we also have to count this as a robbery. Dan Hooker went in there and he kind of robbed Gamrot. And even then, it was a very close fight that could have gone either way. And, brother, you're barely getting past Gamrot, brother. You're not going to get past the Islam Makhachev, the Justin Gaethje. If that Justin Gaethje fight got made, it would be very interesting because it would have been crazy just seeing Gaethje put a beating on Dan Hooker. Like, Ralph Alfaziev absolutely destroys Dan Hooker. This guy got pieced up by a featherweight. He got pieced up by Arnold Allen, and people think this guy's good. Listen, Dan Hooker is a great fighter. He's entertaining as heck. But is he really going to put up even a fight against the who's of this division? I've used who's in the video so much. I'm learning new slang, guys. Are you proud of me? But Dan Hooker, you're not that guy. You'll never be that guy, and you're going to lose your next fight because the truth is Dan Hooker's probably going to get a very big fight next. You know, he's riding a couple good wins, but when I say good wins, I mean he's riding a win against Jalen Turner and Gamrot, a robbery win against Gamrot. But he's riding a couple good wins, we'll say. And whoever he faces next, he's going to lose against. That's just a fact. That's my opinion. It's both. It's a fact and an opinion, if you guys know what I mean. He's going to lose. He's probably going to get a big step up in the competition. I could see them giving an Arman Tsarukyan. He's been calling out Arman Tsarukyan a lot. This guy has been calling out Arman Tsarukyan. They have their beef. Let me tell you right now, if he got that Arman Tsarukyan fight, it would be humiliating. This would be more humiliating than Dricus du Plessis versus Hamza Chimaev. That would be a 30-20. Brother, that would be just demoralizing for Dan Hooker. Don't ever come back if that Arman Tsarukyan fight happened. Arman Tsarukyan would have smashed your face in. Please, brother. Dan Hooker, every big fight you've had in the UFC, you've crumbled. You're a bum. You're entertaining, but you're a bum. I'm sorry. People talk about this guy like he's going to be fighting for the title in a couple years. What? Dan Hooker's title run ends now. Dan Hooker title run ends now. Moving on to the final guy we have. Here comes the hate. Here comes the hate. Oh my gosh. 5 people just commented and called me an idiot. I can see them typing it out right now. They're calling me a slurs. They're saying slurs. They're saying slurs. But my JDM I have here, I don't think he's that good. Okay, no, maybe that's not even true. I rate JDM. I think JDM is really good. I'm a complete liar. I said JDM wasn't that good. I was joking when I said that, guys. JDM, he is a good fighter. But he's going to lose his next fight because he is facing Islam Makhachev in his next fight. Hate to be that guy, but people are saying that JDM is going to be the ultimate test for Islam Makhachev, brother. He's a combination of Volk style and Dustin Poirier style. He is just going to be such a tough matchup for Islam. That couldn't be more far from the truth in my opinion. JDM, you're a great striker. However, you fought Bilal Muhammad to win the belt, and I picked Bilal Muhammad to beat you. Okay, I sound real hypocritical right now. I picked Bilal Muhammad to beat you, and then I'm coming on here and saying, well, you beat Bilal Muhammad for the belt. If Bilal Muhammad actually followed the game plan, he would have won. I'll say it again for the people in the back who didn't hear. If Bilal Muhammad actually followed the game plan, he would have won. I'll say it one more time. If Bilal Muhammad actually followed the game plan, he would have won. I have said it many times on this channel before. I've said it 3 times in this video. Heck. If Bilal Muhammad followed the freaking game plan, he would have beat JDM. He didn't shoot a takedown. He didn't shoot a real takedown. People always say, bro, Bilal Muhammad was shooting takedowns in the first round. They weren't real takedowns. They were takedowns to close distance. They were takedowns to just get by time. Then, when Belal Muhammad actually realized, oh shoot, I'm kind of getting pieced up on the feet, he was able to take JDM down once or twice in those 4th and 5th rounds. But you gotta understand, when your only option is shooting takedowns in the 4th and 5th rounds, it's so hard to get a takedown in those rounds. Want to know why? Because you're all sweaty. You've been through a war already, brother. You're exhausted. It is much easier to get takedowns in the first 3 rounds than it is the 4th and 5th round. If Belal Muhammad went in there and he was able to shoot takedowns on JDM in those first 3 rounds, he would have won. I still believe that. It's call it cope, call it whatever. I'm not the biggest Belal Muhammad fan. I like Belal Muhammad. I'm not this guy's #1 fan, and I don't think that would mean I would glaze him so much over JDM. So I think it just shows you that I don't really rate JDM. And if Belal Muhammad followed the game plan, he would have won. So let's say it again. So when Islam Makhachev goes in there against Della Maddelena and he actually follows the game plan, when he actually shoots takedowns in the 1st round, the narrative that JDM actually has good takedown defense will dissolve into thin air. Brother, the narrative around JDM is he has good takedown defense. He got taken down by 38-year-old Gilbert Burns, by the way. I'm not letting you guys forget that Gilbert Burns performance either. Gilbert Burns is winning. Gilbert Burns is beating this guy bad. He was beating this guy bad. And then he got a fluke finish. He got a fluke knee over freaking 38-year-old Gilbert Burns, who hasn't looked good since Kamaru Usman. And then all of a sudden we're saying, bro, this guy's a marauder, bro. JDM's that guy. He beat Gilbert Burns. He beat Belal Muhammad. And honestly, I had the Belal Muhammad fight 3-2 going into that 5th round. 3-2 going into that 5th round. And he barely won it. He did not absolutely put a beating on Belal Muhammad. It was a very back and forth fight. Obviously, I still think JDM won. It was a very back and forth fight, and if Belal Muhammad won the final round, I would have had him winning the fight. But when he was facing Islam Makhachev, when he was facing Javier Mendez, when he was facing Khabib, when he was facing the Khabib camp, one of the best game planners in the UFC, Islam Makhachev will follow the game plan. Islam Makhachev has never been one of those guys who's going to go in there and he's just going to completely dissolve. He's just going to completely just fall apart. Islam Makhachev is going to go in there, he's going to follow the game plan, and he's going to be able to piece up JDM on the feet. People are going to be surprised. Islam will piece up JDM on the feet. People will be very surprised, and then Islam's going to take him down at will. Whenever Islam wants to take him down, he will take him down. And I just realized what's happening here. I went on a whole rant about Islam versus JDM. That's not the point of this video. I got so off topic there. But still, dude, JDM will lose his next fight. He's a good fighter. He's not a great fighter. Islam will show him levels. That's my opinion. Don't give me hate, dude. JDM, I respect you, buddy, but Islam will show you levels. And that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys agree, if you guys understand where I'm coming from, if you guys have any more fighters that you think are just getting way too overrated as of right now, let me know down below in the comment section. This is a really fun video, guys. Have a fun Friday. Have a fun weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. MMA Outpost out.